Boxing truth here. It was reported yesterday that Errol Spence is most likely going to be in a step-up fight against New Yorker Chris Algieri. It's a fight that's being talked about happening for mid-April, April 16th at the Barclays Center. It's not official, but it's been reported by many boxing media sources that it seems solid information. They got the word from someone who's close to the talks, so it looks like a go for April 16th at the Barclays, and it's a good fight. Not a bad fight. I actually like this matchup. Interesting fight, contrasting styles. We're finally going to get some answers about Errol Spence Jr., who's a highly regarded prospect in Al Heyman's stable. He's been getting some good exposure from Heyman on NBC and other platforms. I'm hearing this is going to be the opening show of 2016 for NBC on PBC on NBC. So it looks like PBC finally has some dates upcoming for their time by networks. Still waiting to hear what's going on with ESPN, but NBC, I'm hearing, is going to have dates in April. So yeah, of course there's a lot of reports about the money issue with Heyman. Is he running out of money? The numbers say yes. However, he's still scheduling shows, just not as much as before. He's still scheduling shows on his time buy deals, but a lot of his fights are mostly scheduled on Showtime and Showtime on CBS, and the Spike Network. I don't think that's a time buy deal. That's more of a license fee type deal. So it looks like PBC is still gonna have some shows upcoming very soon. More shows are gonna be announced. As for the fight itself, I see it as a competitive fight. It's a little risky fight for Spence because he doesn't have the experience compared to Algieri. Algieri is the way more seasoned guy. He is considered the most highest ranked opponent Spence has fought. He's been fighting at the championship level. He's been tested. He's fought Provodnikov, won a world title, was in there with Manny Pacquiao. I thought he beat Khan, close fight, but I thought he beat him. And he's had a few fights at welterweight limit now. He looked okay against Bonet. He fought a different type of style. Was working on his inside game. Didn't really box much in that fight. Was pretty much in the pocket with Bonet much of the night. Worked on his inside fighting, body shots, and he was able to get the decision. Clear win for him. Spence, on the other hand, he's been mostly babied in his career. He hasn't really fought the type of opponents that can give us clear answers on how good he is. He's been fighting around the same level the past few fights. Mostly top 50, top 60 type guys. Guys that are slow in foot speed and stand right in front of Errol Spence. The one step up he took was against Chris Van Heerden, but that was at a higher weight, according to BoxRec. That was his one step up fight. A durable guy in Van Heerden, but not a tremendously big puncher or athletic guy. A guy that pretty much stays in the pocket, easy for Spence to pick off and land his big punches. I like Spence's fighting style. He comes forward. He's a good puncher. He's strong. He's physical. He's got physical tools. He's got some talent. He doesn't really. He does have holes in his game though. He's got some deficiencies defensively. He's very vulnerable to right hands. You can catch him, counter him with straight rights, and and right uppercuts. He has to work on tightening up on that defense with straight punches from the right hand. It's very easy to counter Spence from his jab because sometimes he'll throw a lazy jab, and a fighter can simply just step in and throw his right uppercut and catch him with a dangerous right uppercut. So Spence has to watch out for that. However, Algieri doesn't pose the threat of punching power. He's not the biggest puncher. He's not a big puncher at all. Actually, he's a more of a boxer type. Lets his hands go. He's in great condition. He's always in good shape. He's an athletic guy. He has foot speed. So this is a different type of opponent Spence has been fighting. It's going to be interesting to see how Spence can deal with a guy with athleticism and some speed, and a guy who lets his hands go, can box, fights different type of styles. It's not an easy fight. Of course, Spence is the stronger guy, more physical guy, bigger puncher. But I see this as a competitive fight. May even lean towards the upset and picking Algieri, but I still lean towards Spence a little bit, but I see it as a tough fight. I don't see him blowing him out of the water. Algieri's not an easy guy to fight. The guy, he's a tall guy, can jab, can box a little bit. He's got speed, he's got athleticism. He's in great shape. Not an easy guy to fight at all. Algieri's been in all his fights. He's been in all his fights. The only guy that trashed him was Manny Pacquiao, and there's no shame in that. There's no shame in losing to Manny Pacquiao. But that's the only guy that he really couldn't compete with in his career, and I see him testing Errol Spence. We're gonna finally see a test. We're gonna get some answers about Spence. The only thing we're not gonna get an answer is how good his chin is, because Algieri is not that type of opponent. He's not gonna test Errol Spence's chin, but he will test his skill set, his experience level. He will test that. He will test where he's at in his career. It's a good fight for both guys. Finally, a step up for Spence. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Who you got in this fight? It's going down at the Barclays Center, April 16th. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.